Not gonna lie, it's probably the first time in months I've really been out here and actually turned the lights on and everything, and it's kind of like a mess. So I figured this would be like a good intro to what's going on today, which it's actually about 40 degrees today here, just outside Chicago. And you could see this is like my typical winter habitat here. Stuff just acquires on the end since I really don't move the cars. My wife got a mini fridge. My snowblower stays here. I got tires over there. And so this is kind of the prelude to what I'm going to be doing out here tonight, which is just going to be cleaning, unloading, but I'm going to be talking about a couple things. So I'll let you guys go for now. See you. All right, guys, so we're out here. What's up, Finnegan? So Finnegan's out here with us. Actually, yes, he was named after the editor of Hot Rod Magazine, or, you know, Finnegan from Roadkill. Back when they had a, you know, just articles on Hot Rod before they got popular with their shows. We were looking for a name for the dog, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw Mike Finnegan's last name, and I'm like, Finnegan, it's fitting. Either way, so I'm out here. We have the new to me 8.5 from JJ. I'm not going to talk details because we made a video about that when I picked it up, because who better to tell me what we have than the guy who built it. So it's a real nice piece, should be more than what we need. We also picked up a 403. So you see I got my pile of core engines. You guys have not seen any of this, I think. It's been a while since we were out here. The last time I was out here, I was just moving stuff. I took my engine from here to the shop at work to get it on the run stand. And I think this weekend I'm going to finally bring it back and just doll it up. I decided I'm going to paint it. I'm going to do some fabrication work to the valve covers and make it cool. And it's time to bring it home. I'm going to put maybe another hour of run time on the run stand and call it good and bring it home. So I won't bore you guys with any of that stuff, but for the 403, there's a plan with it. So this engine at one point was a good runner, right? When the guy I bought it from got it, he said that the rings were probably sticking to the walls, meaning that they were stuck. So he sprayed oil into the cylinders. He got them to break free. And it turns over very nice. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to find a balancer, a timing cover, clean it up a little bit, and see if I can get this engine running on the run stand so we can get some vitals, put the vacuum gauge on it, you know, do a leak down test, see how bad it is. Who knows? It might need rings. But we'll see. And then I have to thank Chris France, a friend of mine, friend of JJ's. I hope it was cool to say your name. He follows along and whatnot, and there's an aluminum, a 307A4 intake, I believe, sitting under there we're going to use for that 403. And out of one of these, I have a set of seven heads there and another set of 7 heads there. So out of these two, we're going to find a good set to put on that 403. And I have a really nice comp cam kit here with matched lifters. That's and I got a timing set. So we have a lot of stuff. All I would need if we really want to freshen it up is rings and rod bearings, because I have main bearings, I have cam bearings. I don't have rod or piston rings. Or rod bearings and piston rings don't have. But this is going to be for a down and dirty build. Like this is going to be super bare bones, dingle ball honed, all that fun stuff. And between these 3 engines, we're going to make something now. We talked about stuff. I ain't going to get into it. But I intended to use this short block with one of these heads for a nice, like, 9-to-1 towing cam setup. And then the 403 came along. And I'm like, why not? But now I have all kinds of cores fucking lying around. Nobody said I was sane. This is what happens, guys. So either way, I won't bore you guys because we did make a video with JJ, and it goes in depth about everything. And he's been working on his 9. He's been laid out with a back injury. I hope I can say that. Everybody, it's life. Sometimes shit happens, and it sucks. It really sucks because going from full tilt to like you're so limited to what you can do. It's a real kick in the dick. So either way, guys, I'm gonna let you go and watch the video. All right, so I'm gonna let JJ tell us.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's fine. I'm gonna have him tell us what's actually going on with this 8.5. He's been running this rear end for years. He's been hitting it with a trans brake. It's got Moser axles. I'll let him do the details, but he's hammered on this thing, and if he hasn't broken it, it's definitely going to live in my car. And again, I wanted to upgrade. I knew he had talked about going to a 9, and I figure, hey, I think your setup right now is perfect for what I want, and if something can work out, you can upgrade, I can upgrade. I save a little money. I think I saved probably almost $1,000 between going to the S60. I was going to go to the S60, but you know what? Don't really need it. This is going to be more than enough. I'll let him tell you.
All right. This is 8.5 inch 10 volt, which we've talked about already. We've talked about some of this stuff, so you're going to get overviews, but I wanted to go over everything because we all know he'll be like, well, I think he told me this. I'm not sure. Did he tell me? Oh. Anyways, I built this rear end. Well, I started it probably 10 years ago. When I put my car back together after my kids, I had to collect parts a little at a time, and we're talking probably 09-ish. I wanted something that wasn't going to break, and I started with the 8.5. This is actually out of a 72 Cutlass 4-door. It isn't even the original rear end of my car. I actually have the original rear end of my car, but that's besides the point. That's actually an 8.2, I believe. But in the inside the housing here, it's got a Richmond spool, 33 spline. It's got right now, I believe, motive gears, which is a 430, which is what he wanted to go to. The nice aluminum strut cover. The only thing I do not have that was suggested to me is the billet caps inside, but that's personal preference. I put the spiral uppers on it so it moves, especially with my hind joint uppers. The yoke is a billet 1350. I believe this is also a Moser unit. 33 spline Moser axles. It's got the big bearing forward ends with the GM bolt pattern for the brakes. So, like we discussed, you have to bore out. If you use GM factory stuff, you have to make it a little bit bigger. I don't know the size, but I got people who machine it for me, help me out. And, you know, I run coilovers now, which he's not going to do, but the brackets are on there. I'm not taking them off. Years ago, I welded the lift bar brackets on both sides on the inside.
Which I run as well.
Which he runs as well, so it works out. And then on the ends of the housings are the rest of the brackets. I just put them there so I didn't lose them. And other stuff which I showed him earlier and I dug out of my spare parts is this. Actually, I had put on there and ran. So I did the coilovers. This slips on here, bolts to here, and actually has a bracket where you can see they were cut off to support it to help it from twisting. When I went to the 33 spline axles, I was young, dumb, didn't know any better. I had already brought the spool, paid for it, and I called Moser to get the axles. They're like, well, you gotta go to the bigger bearings. So they're like, you have to put new housing ends on. I'm like, I have to what? Well, I already had the spool. They told me it was just the ends. Local guy here, I don't even remember who he is or was. Hell, this has been 15 years ago. He put these on because he had the bar, and then I had him fully weld the center section because, don't know if you guys watch, was it Finnegan's Garage? I think it was Finnegan's Garage. They actually broke the center section loose on one of their rear ends, and they spun it up.
And I've actually seen that happen at the track when the guy hit it with the trans brake and the tube got loose. You do not want to see what the car will do. It literally went hard right towards the wall.
Right.
It's not fun.
So these are fully welded while it was jigged, so everything there is strong. I've run it with the trans brake since I think 14 or 15, running mid to low 11s and then into the 10s. Not
to mention all that torque that big block makes.
Exactly. You know, standing it on the back bumper. Yeah, I'm not standing on the back bumper. Standing it up. Front wheel's probably a foot in the ground. And I don't stand it up as high anymore. But hard hitting. The car's run the best of a 1042 beating on this. I have, in the time of running this rear end, chipped. Didn't break, but I've chipped one ring gear. And it wasn't really bad. I will try to send him the pictures of those, of the teeth, because the car drove, but it had a sound. It sounded like someone was dragging on the dry shaft. I'm driving me crazy. We put it on the lift. I'm spoiled. I have a lift. Took the cover off. Me and a good friend of mine who also does we're look. We can't find it. We think, everything's great. We're spinning it, can't find it. My wife walks in. She goes, "What about that chipped tooth?" I'm like, "What chipped tooth? That one right there." I'm like, "Oh, yeah. I guess I need a ring gear." But that's the only thing I've ever done to it. And I beat the snot out of it. So like he said, for his car, shouldn't have any problems.
Oh, God, no. I do not see it being a problem at all because, again, my 10 volt's pretty much stock. It's a stock posi, stock GM gear, actually. Stock axles. There is nothing upgraded in the internal ends of the rear end on mine, except the guy who did my rear end is a local guy to me. He uses the 12-bolt Chevy-style clutches where it's like a waffle type, really aggressive. But he hates the fact that I burn out clutches within a couple of years because I drive it on the street, and I don't use a line lock. And I don't care who you are, you can never truly adjust drums perfect. So one side drags more than the other, and it always wears out the clutches. So, but the last time that he did it, it's held up the best because I backed off the drums. The adjusters, and that thing's actually already spoken for. So we got something, and this is just going to need a little cleanup. I'm going to put some fresh paint on it, set up my stuff on it, and you're going to see it underneath my car.
What, you don't like my 10-year-old paint? I don't blame you. I'd paint it too.
So don't worry, guys. We're just going to do a little brush Rust-Oleum on there. I actually am a big fan of the hammer finish products that Rust-Oleum has. It's very nice. So either way, we'll let you guys go. Share, like, subscribe. This was just letting you know the guts of the rear I'm putting in the car.